I typically will drop a reaction video to the game right after, expressing what I saw. And then, I will take the time after the game to really analyze the match and tell you guys what I thought, tell you my opinions on what went right and what went wrong for Manchester United. Well, I got to be completely honest. I needed a break. And it's incredible that I'm already saying I needed a break from Manchester United 2 games into the season. But here we are. After a very promising performance at Old Trafford against Arsenal, I can't say the same thing about their performance at Craven Cottage, aside from the first 20 minutes of the match. So let's just get straight into what I saw in the United Fulham match. Grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your espresso, and let's take a look at what went wrong for Manchester United at Craven Cottage. So we've done quite a bit of content already about Ruben Amorim and his time at Manchester United. We were analyzing matches in preseason, and we were talking about the good and the bad that we've seen from this United side. Well, for me, I'm starting to question some things from United, both on the ball and off the ball. But when you see this picture here and you look at the overall shape, it's not horrible. Again, this is nothing new. Mbumo and Mount as the 2 10s, getting ready to jump to the center halves. You have Cunha marking the pivot player as he was playing as the number 9, and the number 9 is responsible for denying that central progression. You see Lenny Euro jumping out into midfield to essentially make a line of 3, connecting with Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro, and it almost looks like a flat back 4 of Shaw, Dorgu, De Ligt, and Ahmad. My biggest issue here is 2 things. If Fulham can work this well, and they tried to a few times, there was just a lack of quality in the final ball. They can work it so Tete gets the ball in this area here, and he has a ton of room to run into because he's a free man, because look at the space between him and Mount and the next closest United player, which would be Bruno. Obviously, Dorgu is responsible for marking the wide player here in this space. My biggest issue is right here. For me, when you have a player of Ahmad's creativity and his skill set, you simply cannot have him playing as a right back, essentially off the ball and out of possession. In my opinion, the best way United could set up off the ball is in a 4-4-2 shape. Get Ahmad and Cunha as your 2 wide players. Get Benjamin Sesko and Brian Mbeumo as your 2 number 9s in the off-ball shape. And then you can have Bruno Casemiro, you can have Bruno Kobe, you can have Bruno Ugarte, you can have Ugarte Kobe, whatever you want your midfield 2 to be. I just think it sets United up a lot better if they are to win the ball in these areas. I don't want Ahmad so deep in this position. And all positions know this. Sessegnon nice and high and wide for Fulham, making sure that Ahmad can't go anywhere. Ahmad has to stay, because if Fulham can get the ball into this area here, Ahmad has to be able to react and get out to Sessegnon and block off any progression. Again here, this was not just a one-time thing. This was a common theme in this game against Fulham. Euro stepping out to the midfield to deny any progression, fine. You see Mbumo, Cunha, and Mount as the 3. But for me, this is where the issue lies. Iwobi can easily get the ball out into this space, a quick vertical pass into Sessegnon, and you have a 1v1 with Ahmad. And for me, people talk about tactics and systems and all these things, and fine. But I think football is actually quite simple. You need to profile your players the best way you can to help them succeed. And Ahmad tracking the opposition fullbacks, making runs in behind, in this case Sessegnon, is not profiling him the best way to succeed. You need him higher up the pitch. I don't want him collecting the ball from these deeper areas, and I just don't think it's a recipe for success for Ruben Amorim long-term in the Premier League. Now look at this picture here, and you can already tell me what's wrong with it. But when you're playing with a midfield 2, and your midfield 2 are Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro, 2 midfielders who are not necessarily known for their pace, their power, their speed. Obviously, we know Bruno Fernandes gets up and about the pitch. Casemiro, his legs have gone a little bit. He's obviously older in his career now. Still adds value. But for me, when you're defending with a midfield 2, you do not want Bruno and Casemiro leading the press with Mbumo. Now, I understand sometimes in games, these situations happen. You can see Mount has dropped into that space to cover for the midfield, and that's fine. But for me, this, again, is not a recipe for success. Your 2 midfielders cannot be leading the press against the opposition when you're only playing with 2 in midfield. If you're playing with 3, fine. You have 2 midfielders go, you have 1 sit in the pocket. But if Fulham can get this and play vertical fast, they can play a long ball. You have completely eliminated the 2 midfielders for Manchester United. And I think that against the better teams that have, the Mohamed Salahs and the Erling Haalands to really stretch around and behind, I think if United decide to stick with this off the ball shape when pressing, we could have some troubles in this Premier League season, in my opinion. Again, you're probably going to say, Gabe, that you're like a broken clock. This is all very similar. And that's the problem. That's the problem. The problem is that it's all very similar. Again, Fulham look to work the ball wide. Ahmad is pinned. Yoro jumping into midfield. And for me, this just doesn't need to happen. If you can play the 4-4-2 and you can get Ahmad in a little bit tighter, Yoro can defend these spaces. We've seen Pep Guardiola have a ton of success with center halves at fullback. Lenny Yoro is comfortable driving with the ball. He gets the ball in right back positions more often than not. Push Yoro to the right center back space. Get Ahmad up the pitch. Get Ahmad here in this area here. Get Yoro here. Get Casemiro here. It's just a much better shape overall. So if you do turn the ball over, if you do win possession back, you already have Ahmad higher up the pitch, and then a quick bit of passing, and you can stretch. You can have Mbumo making that run. You can have Cunha making that run. But look how deep. So even if Manchester United do win possession here, where's the outlet? It's too deep. We're too deep. This is not the same picture. These are different pictures. Ahmad, once again, pinned. One of your most creative attacking players. One of the only players that was worth watching for United last season when he was playing. One of the only exciting players for Manchester United last season is essentially playing as a right back. I don't know. For me, it's not good. It's not what I want to see. But let me know in the comments if you think differently. If you think that the 5-2-3 shape is a good shape off the ball. I'm seeing a lot of problems with it right now. And this is where we start to get into the issue of the Bruno Casemiro midfield in particular. So Mason Mount and Cunha are jumping out to press Fulham's back line, and Bruno decides to jump to Berg, which isn't necessarily a bad decision, because if he doesn't jump to this player here and he decides to go here, then Berg can just get on the half turn and look at the amount of space he has to work in. Bruno decides to jump because he has to. Now, Casemiro was late. He goes to slide, and look at the amount of space that Alex Iwobi is in. And also, look at the distance between the back 5 and the midfield. There is no way that any opposition in the league should be able to get the ball to their pivot player in this space pretty simply as well, not really being pressed, and then him have the ability to get on the half turn and fizz this ball into Iwobi, because now look at all the space that Iwobi has to run into and run at the back line. A midfield 2 of Casemiro and Bruno, I just don't think it works, and I don't understand why Ruben Amorim is persisting with it. So we know where the goal came from, and there were already warning signs before the goal even came. There was a moment in this match here where you can see Iwobi has the ball in this space, and Diogo Dalot is just worried about the overlap, or the underlap, I should say, of the Fulham fullback. The reality is Diogo Dalot should step out into the space and eliminate any central progression that Iwobi's looking to create. Whether it's a slip ball in behind here, or we're going to see what happens with the goal where he gets a ball into the box and there's a runner that makes the run to the near post and they go and score. This is just too much time for Iwobi to have in possession in this area. Lenny Yoro caught flat-footed. Luckily for United, this was offside. I mean, Fulham didn't score from this opportunity anyway, but the worrying signs were there. Now, this is the goal. It's the same thing. Diogo Dalot doesn't close off Iwobi, doesn't get tight enough to him. There's no way Iwobi should have this much space to be able to get the ball into the 18. Someone needs to step out into this area. Diogo Dalot does. Let Lenny Yoro worry about the underlap. Ugarte needs to step into this area here. He's not really doing anyone any favors here. Get tighter. Get in line with your defense. And again, Bruno Fernandes. And we're going to see another picture of this as well. And it's not picking on Bruno Fernandes because I'm a Bruno Fernandes fan, and I don't like the idea that because he's had a very poor game that everyone's just going to jump and blame him. Obviously, he missed a penalty and it was a horrible performance. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just going to blame him for everything. It's a team game. There's 11 players on the pitch, but here it's unacceptable. You're at the top of your 18. I understand that people say he's not a defensive-minded midfielder, and I agree. My issue is, regardless of whether or not you're a defensive-minded midfielder, you have to make this run for the team. You're in this area here. Emile Smith-Rowe is going to attack this near post. You see Iwobi's open up his body to play that ball. You cannot just let Emile Smith-Rowe run freely. So there is a number of errors from a number of players in this side, and we saw it coming ever since United scored the goal to take the lead. I saw this coming from a mile away. We set it on the watch along. Fulham were getting balls out wide, and United weren't tracking those wide players, and Fulham made United pay. It's as simple as that. Now, when the United team sheet came out, I was quite frustrated that Benjamin Sesko was not on it. I understand you're trying to slowly get him integrated into the side, but you spent that amount of money on a striker. I don't want to see Mbeumo, Cunha, Mount. I don't want to see Mbeumo, Cunha, Bruno. If Sesko is fit and he can play, Benjamin Sesko simply has to play. You see in his position here, Lenny Euro's in a good position. If there is any center half I want at this current moment in time in this position with this amount of time and space on the ball, it's Lenny Euro. But look at what he has around him. Bryan Mbeumo is looking to drop into space. Drag a midfielder with him, fine. Cunha is stationary here. Mount is stationary here. Ahmad is potentially making to look a run in behind. Fine. I'm not blaming Cunha and Mount and Mbeumo, but these are ball to feet players. These are players who want to drop in, get on the ball, get on the half turn, and run forward. You need a player who's going to be in this space that's going to occupy the center halves, that's going to ask them a question. Do I step out to Cunha if he makes this run here, or do I have to worry about the potential of a number 9 with the athleticism and size that Benjamin Sesko has running in behind and creating a problem for me? It's very easy. Everything's in front of Fulham. There's never really a worry that United are going to look to stretch Fulham in behind, which is why for me, I've said it again, and I sound like a broken record. Benjamin Sesko has to start when he's fit to play. It's as simple as that. And then when Benjamin Sesko is on the pitch, United need to do a better job of finding him. You're only as good as your service. And yes, the best strikers in the world create chances for themselves. But look at this movement from Benjamin Sesko. We made a video before the season started when Benjamin Sesko signed for Manchester United about how good he is at finding quiet areas in the 18. Well, here you can see he makes a darting run to the near post. It's a great run. Diogo Dalot is in a ton of space. He has the time to get the ball out of his feet, get the ball into the 18, and have Mbeumo or Benjamin Sesko run to the end of it. Benjamin Sesko, what he does best is he makes that run into the near post, and then at the last minute, he runs back post. Diogo Dalot here simply needs to put the ball to the back post. He's 1v1. You have a striker with the size of Benjamin Sesko. We've seen what he can do in Leipzig when the ball's in the air. Hang the ball up at the back post and let him go and get it. It's as simple as that. But what does Diogo Dalot do? He cuts it onto his left foot. It's a weak cross on his left foot. Now, to be fair, it goes out for a corner and United score from it. But United need to do a better job. When you're in this position, you've done the hard work. You're in a 1v1 situation with Fulham's fullback. Your number 9, who you spent a lot of money on, is in a 1v1 situation. I'm probably going to back him against most center halves in this position to go and get the ball in the air. United have to do a better job of finding him. And then this is the last little bit I wanted to show of the game that I thought, again, is worrying and I think against better teams might be exposed when United are in a deeper block. So United are in a pretty okay position here, a pretty comfortable position here. It's a 3v3, Dorgu, Bruno, and Luke Shaw. The ball gets played and Bruno is responsible for this player here. Regardless of whether or not you're a defensive thinking midfielder, you have to know that he's making this run in behind. Can Luke Shaw get tighter quicker? Sure. But Bruno Fernandes has to be responsible for making this run as soon as this ball is played. What happens? He does not track the runner And look at the amount of time and look at the amount of space that Fulham has in this position to get a cross in, whether it's Wilson running into this area here, whether it's a Iwobi peeling off the back here, whether it's Emile Smith-Rowe running into here. Luckily, United defended well, but this is just not a position that United can afford to be in, especially against the Liverpools, the cities of the league. They just simply cannot if they want to win games of football this season. And look, this is not me making this video saying I want Ruben Amorim out, this and that. It's 2 games into the season. I am still going to give it time. I am not going to ever come on to these videos and rant and rave, as I know a lot of people like to see that, but that is just not the way I view football. When you're watching the game, sure, you're emotionally invested, but when you take some time to actually rewatch the game and analyze it, you can see that there are good and bad from every performance. However, I cannot just simply praise Ruben Amorim and his players when they're doing things well, as I did in preseason when they had some good moments, as I did against Arsenal when I thought they were the better side. This is a Manchester United football channel, and I simply have to be able to make these videos when United were poor. And in my opinion, Manchester United were poor against Fulham. Do I think it is all doom and gloom? No. But I think it is very clear that changes have to be made. I think Benjamin Sesko has to be starting games. You need that focal point of number 9. And I think it's very obvious that we look kind of toothless without that number 9 up top. I also think it's time to integrate Kobe. He needs to play. There is no way, in my opinion, that you can be subbing on Manu Ugarte, and it's no diss to Manu Ugarte, instead of Kobe. Especially when you need that little bit of control and tempo setting in midfield. The best midfielder we have at the club to do that is Kobe Manu. I'm not hearing that he can't run. I'm not hearing that he's not physical enough for it. I have seen him do it in games like Liverpool when we were at Anfield. I've seen him play very good football. I mean, he was in a midfield too for Gareth Southgate in England, and I know international football is different. But if what you're currently doing is not working, arguably your best midfielder or one of your best midfielders on the bench, you need to change it. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you think, Gabe, you know what? I completely disagree with you. I couldn't disagree more. That's what this channel is for. It's for my opinions and it's for your opinions. I want to hear what you thought. What did you think about the Fulham game? What do you think the starting 11 should be against Grimsby? Let me know in the comments down below. Remember to hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload. And yeah, hopefully Manchester United can get off to winning ways against Grimsby, and they need the 3 points against Burnley before we head into the international break. That is it for this one. I appreciate everyone for watching. I'll chat to y'all again very soon. Until next time, peace.